have that little drink of water. G'day guys, how you going?
Yeah, good.
Welcome, welcome. I'll be doing a talk shortly if you want to stick around. So up to you if you're moving through. Almost there. Thanks for keeping me hydrated, guys. Noticing that I'm not drinking my water. So welcome to Burrunggui Shelter. For those of you I haven't introduced myself to, I'm Phoebe. I'm one of the interpretive rangers for Parks Australia. So I'm here on behalf of Parks Australia, but also on behalf of the traditional owners as well. So this spot is, you guys will definitely be able to beat Parks Australia, is that right? Interpretive ranger? You'll know it off by heart. So this spot is pretty incredible. So that feeling that you get, so as we walked around the corner, okay, just here, or you walked up from the bottom, and you suddenly felt relief. You know, you're suddenly like, oh, that breeze, that shade, just felt, you suddenly were comfortable. Your body was no longer under stress. And that's one of the key reasons why this site is really important, okay? Because it's prime real estate, okay? We're in this beautiful rocky overhang here, all right? Nice and sheltered. We've got natural breeze flowing through us. We've got this billabong just down the corner here, fresh water, okay? Abundant food resources. Productive forest just down below here. We've got sea forest, there's a green water through here. It's prime real estate, okay? If I was living traditionally on this land, this is where I would be. This is where I'd be. It's a great shelter, okay? And it's all about together. And the archaeologists that dig, they went, well, it looks pretty good, okay? Because even at the time when archaeologists first came through here, there were fragments, there was evidence that people lived on the site. So that archaeological dig is really significant, okay? It's telling us a whole lot about how long many people have lived in the landscape, answering those big questions, how long they've lived here, okay, and what their life might have looked like, how it changed over time, because it did change dramatically, all right? So, this archaeological dig, it happened in 1985 by a fella from the ANU, okay, Rhys Jones, and his team, and they came through to this site and they dug down layer after layer after layer after layer after layer, okay, looking for evidence of occupation, okay, and what they found, okay, right down the bottom, a core tool, okay, it's a stone implement, okay, that's used for things like cutting the sinew off animal skins or just general cutting. It's kind of like this multi-purpose knife/tool item, okay. So they found this stone tool, okay, and they dated the soil overside of it, right, and they had this estimate that it could be 20 to 25,000 years old. That's extraordinary, 20 to 25,000 years old in this site, right? But what they found was through the layers and layers and layers of soil, okay, was that there was a different distribution, okay? There wasn't a whole lot of material at the site was kind of like that, a stop-off site, where people would, as they're moving through country, maybe from further south up to the coast, they might have stopped here for a short period of time. So we have some evidence, some implements, but it wasn't occupied full time. Now over time, the environment changed. Okay? We know that the environment changed because the ice age ended, all right? And that was about 6,000 to 8,000 years ago. Those ice sheets melted, the glaciers melted, the sea levels rose, it was separated again, and the climate had changed so significantly, and we were starting to get that tropical weather with monsoonal rains, okay, and periods of great drought. And it was at that time, all right, that in this site, okay, with monsoonal rains. Okay, where else would you go with the torrential rain that comes down through the tropical web? It is perfect. Okay, the rain is going to fall straight down and you're going to stay nice and dry. Okay, your fire's going to stay lit. It's going to be a perfect place to rest. So it's almost like a summer home, if you think about it. Okay, they're here for a few months of the year, moving around where the resources are most abundant. So we see that around the 6,000 to 8,000 year mark. Okay, that it becomes occupied seasonally, if you like. And through those layers, so I've actually got a couple of ochres here as well that I can show you, and afterwards you're welcome to have a bit of a look, a touch and a feel. But I've got some of the ochres. So those paintings that we see, all right, throughout the park, there's paintings we can see right here actually, are made from pigments like this. So just simple little rocks, pretty little rocks. So what I've got here, this is called pipe clay, okay, or camelite, I think it is. Pipe clay basically, and it's ground up, okay, and mixed with water and painted onto rock, and it ends up looking a bit like that you can see there. So that's a white colour. We then have limonite here, which is the yellow colour, again ground up. Even though it looks pinkish, it turns into a bright yellow colour. And then here we've got hematite, which makes that deep red kind of colour. They might mix some of the pigment together to get different shades, but for the most part these are the three distinct colours. And then black is made from charcoal, but black doesn't last very long at all on rock, it washes away really quickly. So we actually have this scale, if you like, with the pigments, that the red, it penetrates up to 7 millimetres into the sandstone, okay? So that's why some of the older paintings, there's this kind of like blurred red background, because the pigment stuck around for a really long time. Limonite, second oldest, if you like, sticks around for a long time, and then the white pipe clay doesn't last as long either. So those pigments wash away earlier, but the red sticks around the longest. So we start seeing those items that indicate occupation a bit longer as well. Now over time, the environment changed again, okay, and it went from this sort of saltwater time, okay, so we call it the estuarine period, if you like, where the seas rose and washed into these places. Now over time, as those seas rose and washed in, and that tropical rain fell down, these swampy bogs started appearing, okay, swampy bogs, and they built up with mangroves, and they ended up being these little pockets of water, okay, that ended up being freshwater environments. Lot of organic material there, okay? So one of the really cool things, and I love a good pandanus, okay? Pandanus is one of my favourite plants here in the Northern Territory, and we found a whole lot of pandanus, not we, I had nothing to do with it, but the researchers found these pandanus nuts in the fire as acting as these like hot rocks. Because they're this really dense, fibrous fruit, if you like, they take a really long time to burn, okay? So they make it really good. If you're cooking something over the fire, like your barramundi or your wallaby or your magpie goose, whatever it might be, then that becomes really good, a really good long burning coal. So we found that within the strata, okay? There were animal bones. There are actually also human remains found at this site too that were reburied. but there were animal bones as well. So a whole lot of organic material that indicated that this was occupied really frequently. In the top layers as well, and even on the top, put that one to the side for a second, and even scattered on the surface as well when Europeans first came through here, were string bags, okay? So made from sand palm that they would have rolled the string down their legs and then woven into these bags, okay? There were fragments of them scattered about this site and in the top layers of the soil, which is quite extraordinary, okay? That archaeologists are coming in and they're trying to learn about an ancient culture, but it's a living culture, okay? Something that's still practiced today, all right? But Bidding people probably moved out of this site around, you know, early 1900s, okay? They were moved off. People were coming in, starting to centralise around where buffalo camps and into towns and that sort of thing. So they're starting to move away at that time, but certainly occupied really significantly. And that's what that archaeological dig is telling us about, is that transition, if you like, that Bidding adapted and lived in this environment depending on the environmental conditions and found the best possible way to utilise them. Now one of those is also with perhaps the boomerang, okay? So if we think about the tools that they would have used in certain environments, that changed too, that technology changed. Because in a really dry environment, when there's not many trees about, if you remember Tennant Creek, it's probably pretty treeless out that way. It makes sense to use a boomerang to hunt wallaby or hunt emu or whatever it might be, okay? But then as the climate changes, all right, and the trees grow up and, you know, boomerang's not necessarily going to be the best tool, because if you throw a boomerang, it hits a tree, you're not going to get anything. So spear became the more dominant used tool. It's not to say the boomerang disappeared entirely, it just, the spear would become the more dominant tool, okay? And they make spear tips, and it's quite amazing. There's actually really cool footage of Bidding men making spear tips. It's really hard to kind of think about it, but they'd sit in this like quarry filled with rocks, alright? And then pick up a rock and then crack it apart. And if a part shaved off in the right way, and then hold on to it, but if it cracked in the wrong way, they just chuck it over their shoulder. And they keep going, pick up another one, and pick up another one, until they got the right ones to shave it off. And then they'd break it apart again, and then break it apart again to try and form the sharpest spear. Okay, quite extraordinary. So we see that sort of transition, if you like, from what they might have used boomerang to spears, okay, and then even transitioning to like spear thrower, if you like, where you can make the spear go faster and further, if you like. So there's this adaptation through environmental change to make sure that you can utilise those resources to the best of your ability. So quite extraordinary, and that's what this archaeological dig is telling us about, that connection and that adaptation has maintained the oldest culture in the world, basically. Now, unfortunately, so I've said 20 to 25,000 years at this site, but in the past couple of months, it's been surpassed. Okay, there's been another archaeological dig, and I've mentioned this a few times because it's quite exciting breaking news, if you like, in Australia, which is that we had a dig that happened in the north area of the park, in Jabiluka mining lease actually, and it found the oldest evidence in Australia, okay, 65,000 years. And there was I can't recall, I think it was hematite that was found in the lowest levels there. So 65,000 years worth of evidence, which is breathtaking. So 3 times what was found here, which is amazing. So chances are as well that we probably have older evidence in this region. Chances are, okay, it makes sense. We're not that far away. We're what, I don't know, 60 kilometres away from that archaeological dig, maybe 70. So chances are there's older evidence. Perhaps this site didn't have it because we're on an angle, okay? Sediments might have washed away over a certain period of time, we don't necessarily know. Or maybe it just wasn't a good spot to be 60,000 years ago, okay? But certainly in the north of the park we had that oldest evidence in Australia. So chances are Bidding people would have been moving through this region in some way or another up to that long ago. So really extraordinary thing to reflect on. And one thing that I like to do is you can have a look around and you can imagine what life might have looked like here, okay? Where would you have put the fire, okay? You know, where would the ladies sit and where would the men sit, okay? Where would you grind your pigments, okay, and prepare dinner, okay? Where would you sit and gather and tell stories? Where would ceremony happen, okay? You can start to imagine what that might have looked like, most certainly. And when I was showing through this region, they had this idea that, the fellow that was the traditional owner that took us through here was saying that they might light sticks on fire, okay, so that smoke happens through here to keep the mosquitoes away. So that they'd have little burning sticks sitting on the top of the rock to keep ward off the mosquitoes, so it was still a pleasant place to be and there were no mosquitoes around. So there's all these little elements that you can start to imagine and bring together. You know, the fact that there were string bags, okay, that you would have seen ladies finding their own little spot where they'd sit around in a circle together, stripping apart the sand pile, rolling it down and then weaving it together to create these extraordinary, like fine. See, this bag here, this is a modern one, okay, because it's got colours on it. So colours didn't appear in weaving until Ballinder came along because, well, before then they had no billy cans to boil the fibres and make the dyes. So it's something, way that demonstrating the culture's dynamic and adapts to things around it, but that act of weaving and creating bags stay the same. So this beautiful bag, they would have been making extraordinary bags to just carry things like their stone implements, like their axe head or their stone spear tips or their openings. Okay, so they needed those implements to carry through the landscape. So you can visualise, you can start to imagine what this place would have looked like. Even though we've got this boardwalk through here now and these interpretive signs, this is someone's home for a really long period of time. And so you can pause for a couple of minutes at the end and reflect on it a little bit. But that's all from me today, guys. So thank you so much for joining me at each of the sites. I hope you built a bit of a better understanding of this. You're welcome to come down and have a bit of a touch of the feel and have a look at the place. None of these items came from this bit. Everything was returned to that site as part of the agreement. Was there any items, most of the items were returned, and any other items were moved back to the demonstration of the market. A way that they can take ownership of those items. Historically, once upon a time, which is really cool.
And what was these? That was from somewhere else, or was it really useful?
Yeah, it would have been, absolutely would have been used. It's just an artefact because artefacts are really significant. Okay, they're really, but it's not like they were just for us. It would have been thousands and thousands of so they're significant. They should. One of the things that happens is that some of the visitors that they're came along that they find artifacts and then they just take them. You know, we have to say and be like, oh, this is mine. Yeah. You know, these days we buy souvenirs and that sort of thing, but people want a physical memento of things, and so a whole lot got taken. So if it's for the right purpose, yeah, absolutely share it. That's really cool. But we did have one thing though, because once upon a time you'll notice that these are spear tips that aren't quite spear tips. We did have one that was intact, but it's gone because visitors like, so it can happen. So we left with these ones, but really cool way of demonstrating, I guess, the type of stuff that they're looking for along the way.
This is another kind of.
Yeah, this is if you're moving a couple of K around the corner to, you know, the fireplace, whatever it might be, no lighters. So the way that you do it is you'd light your Banksia comb, okay, and it would smolder. You might insulate it in some hollow wood or something, maybe the pandanus or whatever it might be, and so you could carry it through the landscape, so you don't have to sit there with fire sticks for half an hour trying to make a fire when you had one just around the corner. So they carry a couple, they're really light, really small, so they could just feed it in and it would just keep smouldering as they're walking through the bush. So it's this cool, like ancient lighter, if you like, way of,
So like an older lantern.
Pretty much like a lantern, absolutely right. So good way to just, because fire is like the fundamental, you know, how they manage the landscape. So really quite significant, but it's also really nice because it's just and we're quite tactile people, aren't we? We're like, oh, smell.
Yeah.
That's good. Really nice. But this bag blows my mind. But because each of the colours, so that pinky colour, that yellow colour, that brown, this lighter yellow colour, the orange, they all come from a different plant. So it might be the fruit of a flower or fruit. The yellow colour comes from the root. This lighter yellow might come from capelock, and then I don't even know where that orange colour will come from actually. But
I think in which way they color like palma or the deza?
So what they do is they grind it up, whatever it might be, the flower or the root, and they grind it up and then boil it in water. Okay, so in a billy can, and then they put the fibres in, they boil it for a little while,